financial problems, elder law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by Thav Gross. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. I've got Brian Small with me. It's just Brian and me today to cover the current issue in these next two segments of Law and Reality. And we're going to do a two-part story. It's going to be saving your home from being underwater and from foreclosure. Now, it's granted, we are not in the midst of the financial crisis any longer. Things are better in the economy, but what Brian and I have learned is people still have issues with regard to their homes. There's still 5 to 6 million homes underwater, so that's less than 12 million. So things have improved that way, and there's still an average of what was the number we said the other day for foreclosures? The last segment, like 1.7 million homes still in the foreclosure process. So there's a lot of people that are affected. So I'm going to lay out a scenario with facts. We're going to do this as a case study over the next two segments. I'll lay it out clearly, and then I'm going to use Brian and I to knock through how you analyze this type of a problem, what your options are, what good things you can get out of a bad situation. So here's our fictitious family. Bill and Sarah, they have 2 children. They're living in the suburbs, and they have financial issues. Income. Up until last year, Bill had good income. He was making $85,000 a year, gross. That's $7,000 a month. Sarah, his wife, was making $20,000 a year. Between the two of them, they had $105,000 of gross income, and they were netting $7,000 a month. Unfortunately, Bill lost his job. Now, he went out and found a new job, but instead of making $85,000 a year, he settled for a job making $48,000. So he's now making $4,000 a month gross. Sarah still has her job making $2,000 a month, so she's grossing $1,666 a month. So their current gross income is now $5,666 a month. Their net income after tax is $4,800. So they've got, basically $1,200 a week to live off of. Now here's their asset and liability situation. They got a house, fair market value, $185,000. This house is underwater. Their first mortgage is with Bank of America. It's a 6% mortgage. Their payment is $1,650 a month, principal and interest. Originally, the mortgage was $275,000. Now it's $250. They've paid it down. Taxes and insurance, $400 a month. So their total monthly payment is $2,050. You getting all this, Brian?
I'm getting it all.
Okay, gotta make sure because you gotta have these numbers down pat in your head. All right, they have a second mortgage, unfortunately, and that's with Chase Bank, 7% interest, $75,000 balance. It's converted to a 20-year amortization. Their payment on that second mortgage is $581 a month. So now, question, Brian, how much is the house underwater?
$140,000.
How did you come up with that?
I read it in the outline.
Can you walk us through the math?
Sure. $185,000 is the current fair market value of the house. We owe $270. We owe $250 plus $75.
So $325 minus $185.
Shockingly,
$140.
There
That's
you
good.
go.
You did a good job with that. All right, credit cards. They have $60,000 in credit card debt. Various companies. They're paying 20% interest on that, which is $12,000 a year in interest alone. And their payments running at 2.5% on the balance of the cards are coming to $1,500 a month. Now, forgetting everything about the house, forgetting about whether their income has gone up or down, what do you think about the credit card debt?
well, the credit card debt is, unfortunately, let's start off with, it's normal. I'm seeing more and more people coming in with $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 worth of credit card debt. I think your 20% interest is probably
Cheap.
low.
Yeah, so it's a bonus card.
And at the end of the day, what it is people have financed their lives.
Future.
No, they financed their lives and they've stolen from their future by paying this $1,500 a month. They're paying for debts of the past when we can clearly do something about it. I mean, at this point, Bill and Sarah are not only living on less money, but they're trying to stay current on debt. And
yeah, no matter
what
Bill and Sarah's financial situation is, whether they were making a lot more money or whether they had a lot less expenses, they need to get rid of this credit card debt because it's insane to be paying
$12,000
a year in
it's
interest
crazy.
in juice. You know, I had lunch with a banker a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about he does consulting work as well, and people, you know, you talk about budgeting, and I don't even want to get into it with you because once I open the door to budgeting with you, you don't stop talking, and I know you're excited about it. We'll do it on a different segment. But he was talking about budgeting, and he said he was explaining with a client who came in, and they had $75,000 of credit card debt, so he had the payments that had to be made, and he said to him, well, there's nothing I can do about the money that you already spent. You owe the credit cards. Because he wasn't thinking in terms of settling the credit card debt. He was thinking of trying to trim their budget so that they could afford it. And he was basically saying, no matter what I suggest to do for you, I can't help you because of your credit card debt. Now, you're different because you can help people with the credit card debt because we can get rid of the credit card debt.
That's right.
A banker doesn't think that way. But
no, because bankers are the people that then end up losing their jobs when enough
they
people
think
hit
people
the
should
bank
pay their
for
credit card debt.
Go figure.
Okay. 2 car payments, a Ford lease for $225, a GM lease, back to Bill and Sarah, $300 a month. Here's their expenses in summary. The first mortgage is $2,050. The second mortgage, $581. The credit card's $1,500 a month. 2 cars, $525. Utilities, $500. Cell phones, $150. Auto insurance, $175. Gas and auto maintenance, $400. Life insurance, $50. Food, $700. Miscellaneous and entertainment, $200. Their outgoing expenditures are running $68.31 a month. They have a big problem. Before they lost their job, they had $7,000 a month coming in. They were spending $68.31. They were at least positive by $169. Their problem now is they only have $4,800 net coming in. They got $68.31 that's supposed to be going out. They're $2,031 in the hole, in the red. They have a serious problem, and we have to figure out how are we going to solve Bill and Sarah's problem, and can we solve it, or do they have to jump off the bridge? We'll be back after the break.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Thav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Thav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Every family has the family meeting, and we all know what that means. Dad's got dementia. What are we going to do? What's the care plan that the family has in place? Usually they don't, or they struggle with a care plan. When you go home tonight and you talk to your tax person and you talk to your financial person, say, what's the plan that you have in place? And as soon as they don't give you an answer, give me a call, because I can do it for you.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Thav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Thav Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your savings, and more. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Samasco Law wants you to know that laws are changing. Today, the average cost of nursing home care is $85,000 a year. With proper planning, we can help protect your life savings and get you the Medicaid and nursing home benefits you deserve.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
Worth Ave Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, so we're working through, Brian Small and I are working through Bill and Sarah's problems with their house. The basic summary is this. They are now $2,031 in the red per month because Bill lost his $85,000 job, took a $48,000 job. Sarah still makes $2,000 a month, but they had normal expenses. We need to figure out their current situation.
Well, before you do that, I want to point out, this is the dangerous point. When Bill and Sarah, he loses his job, he gets a new job, and now they start to see that they can pay some of their bills, but they're $2,000 a month underwater with their expenses. This is where people tend to go, oh, I need to go get the money out of my 401k from my old job, and I'm going to spend it because I'm going to get a better job. I'm going to get things to be better. So I'm going to spend my savings to maintain the same lifestyle I have had over and over and over again. They're going to end up stealing from their retirement.
They take an early withdrawal. They take a hardship withdrawal. They pay a 10% penalty, and they have to pay tax on the money, or they take a loan from their 401k, and then what they've done is they've depleted their savings to never get it back.
Right.
Either way, terrible mistake. This is the time where they need to make the right decision on a go-forward basis. All right, here, their current situation. They're 3 months behind on the house payments. They're 5 months behind on the credit cards. The house is $140,000 underwater. They're current on their car payments. They're facing foreclosure on their house. They're worried. They have no cash in the bank. They have no available credit on their credit cards. They are in a high level of stress position. There is no reason for them to jump off the Brooklyn Bridge. They have a lot of good solutions here, and we're going to work through them. But let's look and see, what's our goal? What do we want to do with Bill and Sarah's situation? What do they're coming in, they're sitting down with us in the office. What do they want? First of all, they want to save their home, and they want to be able to pay their bills. That's what they're saying to us. What other things what are you thinking about?
Well, besides protecting their retirement funds, I want to be able to keep them in their house. I'm not really all that concerned about them paying their credit card bills in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to get rid of that. And,
even on the house, I say to myself, okay, but they're $140,000 underwater
that's
on that house.
That's the first place we look is all right, Bill and Sarah, do you really want to save your house? What is precipitating your desire to save the house? Is it that you have a belief that you have no place else to go? And if you had someplace else to go, would you go someplace else? Or do you like your house and you want to stay there? Well, it's because it's cold out. But do you want to stay there? And if you want to stay in this house, how long do you want to stay in this house?
All right, then other things that we both see in this. So that's Bill and Sarah's motivation because it's important. Do they need to stay in the house till their kids graduate school? What's the motivation? But we also see a couple things here right off the bat. We know Bank of America has the first mortgage. We know the house is underwater. We say to ourselves, if they fit within the parameters for a HAMP modification, they may have a chance at principal reduction on their mortgage balance as part of a loan mod.
Absolutely. And one of the key factors in this situation is that Bill and Sarah are only 3 months behind on their house. They're not further. The further behind you get, the more time you get behind on your house, the less opportunity you have for modification when you're facing foreclosure because we have Reg X.
Because we can get in a full modification application within 120 days of falling behind. We can go through the whole Reg X process for them in order to make it work. Now, there's another thing you see on the house, though. The value of the house, fair market value, is less than the amount of the first mortgage. Therefore, it's a lien strip possibility.
In a Chapter 13. But in this situation,
just tell me what a lien strip is first.
Lien stripping is when you owe more money on your first mortgage than your house is worth, and you have a second mortgage. In Chapter 13, you have the ability to strip off the second mortgage from the home, pay it through a Chapter 13 plan,
So you
like
effectively
it's
a
credit card debt, possibly paying it as little as 0 cents on the dollar over the life of the Chapter 13 plan. At the end of a successful Chapter 13 plan, your second mortgage is gone, period, and can never come back.
All right, so now in the house, do you also see, because I set their, in this case study, I set their income and I was trying to put it at a level that would kind of put them on the borderline of maybe they could file a Chapter 7 and discharge the debt. Now, discharging the debt on the mortgage, either the first mortgage or the second mortgage, doesn't mean you get to live in the house for free, because you have to continue to pay the house if you want to stay there. But what does discharging the debt do? What would a Chapter 7 do for them relative to the house?
This case, it has such a it's actually a pretty normal situation. You have the ability to either go to a Chapter 13 or to go to a Chapter 7 with this client. And if you go with a Chapter 7, what it does is it eliminates their personal liability on the underlying debt.
So the mortgage and the credit cards.
The first mortgage and the second mortgage.
And the credit cards.
And all the credit card debt.
Okay.
That's
I
right.
I like that. So they don't have to pay.
So they don't have to pay.
Ever.
But if they want to keep the house, they have to pay for the house. So usually...
First mortgage and second mortgage?
Well, that's where the trick comes in. Usually what we'll do is we will put a client through a Chapter 7 like this, discharge their personal obligations on the first and second mortgage and the credit cards, and then, now that we're in that position, we'll have them maintain their first mortgage payment.
By making the payment.
They're making their payments. They're staying current. They're staying relatively current. They're not in a position where they can foreclose under Reg X, because you have to be 4 months behind. So now what we've got is a wholly unsecured second mortgage after a Chapter 7 discharge, and the bank cannot come after the borrower.
They can't sue you for the money.
Never.
Okay.
Now...
And they're not going to foreclose because in a second position, the house is underwater.
That's right. Well, they legally can foreclose, but the likelihood of them putting in good money after bad is non-existent.
Okay.
So now, then that gives you an opportunity with their present income situation to go to the second lender and say, listen, we know you have a lien on the house. You're still way underwater. It's going to take you another 10 years before you're...
Try and settle?
We settle with the second
mortgage. So if it's an $85,000 second mortgage, what are you going to offer them, 40?
$4.
$4,000?
$4,000, maybe, max. Maybe a couple thousand.
Maybe
very small.
5 to 10%.
A very small number to offer.
Will they take it?
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
In this case, it's Chase. Chances are Chase would take it because
Yep.
Chase is one of the more reasonable banks when it comes to this type of a situation.
But if they don't take it, you still have a Chapter 13 in your back pocket that you can still do lien stripping.
We're going to explore that a little bit later in the segment, probably into the next segment. We'll be back after the break.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
Worth Ave Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you're approaching retirement and don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your investments, and your savings. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Putting a solid strategy in place with Samasco Law legally protects your assets as well as your wishes. Since a will doesn't cover you medically or financially, Samasco Law goes beyond ordinary asset management protection to safeguard everything you have.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Thav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Thav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your savings, and more. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Samasco Law wants you to know that laws are changing. Today, the average cost of nursing home care is $85,000 a year. With proper planning, we can help protect your life savings and get you the Medicaid and nursing home benefits you deserve.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
Worth Ave Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Thav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Thav Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
All right, welcome back. Before we get back to Bill and Sarah's housing situation, let me give you a quick update on announcements. Upcoming seminar, Wednesday, March 25th, debt-free this year, focusing on how to preserve future income for savings, all the strategies you need to get rid of debt the fastest, most economical way. The whole concept is the quicker you get rid of the debt, the faster you preserve your future income for you, your family, and for savings. So it's a strategy. Sometimes bankruptcy, sometimes not bankruptcy. The key is doing it the right way in the smart play. We also have an estate plan waiting for spring special that we announced last week. 40% off on a normal estate plan for husband and wife, pour-over wills, revocable living trust, durable power of attorney, healthcare power of attorney. This is, I'm telling you right now, this is a phenomenal deal. Normal fee that we charge at Thav Gross for that is $14.95 per month. At 40% off, it's only $8.95 a month. Not per month. It's only $8.95. In order to take advantage of the offer, you must register for it prior to March 20th because it's a before spring sale. To register, you go to lawandreality.com or thavgross.com, and there's a spot there to register. You can also call the office at 888-235-HELP. Likewise, to register for the seminar, you do it at the same websites, thavgross.com, lawandreality.com, or call our number. Free reports, we got the Retiree's Guide to Social Security from Pat Samasco at ssifreereport.com. We have my Reg X report, How to Save Your Home with Regulation X, The Hidden Secrets. That's at regxhomesaver.com. The Financial Crisis Analyzer is on the Law and Reality website. That's free. You go there and stick in your information and input it in your information. It gives you a quick, instant report on what your available options are. I want to thank our sponsors, Thav Gross, Samasco Law, upcoming sponsors, Cardiology Associates of Michigan, and Farmington Hills Dental Office. I also want to announce and make mention of our new Flint office is up and running. It's on 1000 Beach Street in Flint. All right, Brian, let's go back now to Bill and Sarah. We kind of went through and raised the possibility of options between a Chapter 7 and a Chapter 13, and we looked at what we could do at the house. Let's now just address, in the end of this segment, how the modification works, because we said that they'd be eligible.
Well, sure, they are eligible.
What's the rule?
31% of gross income.
All right, and if you... Okay, so that's not a rule.
All right,
31% of gross income is a statement.
You're eligible for a HAMP modification if the product of your principal interest... If you look at your principal interest, taxes, and insurance, okay, if 31% of your gross income is more than your current principal interest, taxes, and insurance payment, you're not entitled to a modification. If it's less than 31% of your gross income, then you're HAMP eligible. That's the first test. We also have to look at the net present value of the home, but to make yourself HAMP eligible,
you need to meet that test.
You need to meet that test.
All right, so let's do it for Bill and Sarah. Bill and Sarah's current gross income is $5,666 per month. Multiply that by 31%. That equals $1,756.
Which means that they can reduce potentially
Wait,
their mortgage payment.
what's their current mortgage payment?
$2,050.
Okay, so
Remember
they
your
could
chart that you posted on that everybody's going to see?
Yes, everybody who watches the
That's
TV
true.
version of Law and Reality. But for
They're
those
gonna-
people that are listening to the show, they don't get to see
This
the
is
chart.
true. They're going to save $294 a month.
If they are successful in doing the modification. So that could really help their situation.
And it could hurt their situation.
Now put it together in the bankruptcy context.
Okay, the question is when to do it. If you want to qualify for a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, we actually utilize the original expense of the $2,050. There's no requirement to pursue a modification.
Because we want to make sure that their expenses exceed their available income.
So that they qualify for a Chapter 7 and discharge their debts. But once they've discharged their debts, we can still proceed under HAMP to secure a loan modification for them, thereby freeing up cash, making their mortgage payment lower.
So you're thinking maybe put them into a Chapter 7 first.
That's a possibility.
And then once they've you put them into this Chapter 7, you've discharged the obligation to pay on both mortgages.
And then you modify the mortgage and you make it affordable.
Well, you then, if you modify the mortgage, do you then have to? Are you then personally obligated on it?
You are not. And in fact, most mortgage modifications will acknowledge that there is no personal liability on the modified mortgage.
In fact, you want to make sure that happens and push for it, and you can always get it. But clarify something for me. If you still have to pay for the house, what is the advantage of discharging the debt anyway?
Well, remember, Bill and Sarah are underwater on their house. Even
$140,000 underwater.
That's right.
Right now.
And their house was worth $140, and they owed $180. I think is what the numbers are on the first mortgage. Let's say Bill and Sarah want to walk away from their house 5 years from now.
Okay.
Because they can't sell it because it's still underwater. It's in a neighborhood where it's never going to increase in value, and they're not paying down enough to clear any money out of the sale. What they could do is stop paying on the first mortgage, live there until it's foreclosed, plus 6 months, and move. And the bank has no ability to come after them for any deficiency or any debt owed because they discharged it in their bankruptcy.
I follow you. Remember we said in the last segment of the show we were talking about foreclosure, and the length of time, the average length of time is over 1,000 days that a house is in foreclosure. So in that situation, you discharge the debt, obligation to pay in a bankruptcy, in a Chapter 7.
Correct.
You continue to make the mortgage payment on the first mortgage as long as you want to stay in the home.
Correct.
Once you realize you don't want to stay there long term, you stop paying. You can let the house go through the foreclosure process,
and you can stretch that baby out by using the Reg X possibilities.
1,000 days is nearly 3 years.
Yep.
You can live there for free during that period. At the end of the foreclosure period, they can't sue you. They can't hold you liable on the debt. You then just hand the keys over and you walk away.
Exactly. It's beautiful.
Somewhat manipulative.
Oh, so
but this is a tough world, and you have to look out for yourself. What's your obligation?
Look out for number one
and preserve future income for you
right.
and your family. We'll be back with the next segment of Law and Reality. Thanks for listening, and thanks for watching.